My name is Keshwani. That's Keshwani. Keshwani. We are here because we want to prepare for SAT. We have been solving SAT math problems out of this book here, the official SAT study guide. If you do not own this book already, purchase one immediately. You're going to need it. The problem that we're about to solve is the one that you will find on page number 797. Please turn to it. Page 797, and today is our lesson number 102. 102, 797. Let's take a look at it. Very first problem. We are told that a and b are positive integers, and we are also told that a squared minus b squared equals 7. A squared minus b squared equals 7, and we are told that a and b are positive. So the simplest thing here is to try out some numbers. For example, they both have to be positive, and since a squared minus b squared is a positive quantity, that tells us that a is more than b. Let's try out 3 squared minus 2 squared. 3 squared minus 2 squared is 9 minus 4. That's 5. That's not going to work. Let's try out 4 squared minus 3 squared. 4 squared minus 3 squared is 16. 16 minus 9. There we go. 16 minus 9 is 7. That tells us that a is 4. A is equal to 4. That's it. The answer is B. That's all. Number 8. We're given a number line here. There's a negative 1 here. Then we have a T, U, V, W, U, V, W. There's a 0 here. Then we have an X, Y, positive 1, and a Z. So far so good. Alright. What is it looking for? On the number line above, which of the following corresponds to the absolute value of u minus w? It's not u minus w, it is the absolute value. So let's find out, shall we? Well, let's find out. This is negative 1, so why don't we just make up some numbers here for u, v, and w. Let's pretend that it is 6, 7, and 8. Now we understand that when we say 6, 7, and 8, first of all, these are negative numbers. So this is negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, which is why they go in this order. Secondly, I want you to understand that when I say negative 6, negative 7, negative 8, I know this is negative 1. So these are in fact 6/10, negative 6/10, 7/10, and 8/10. You understand that part? That is 6/10, 7/10, 8/10, or if you like, you can take some liberties. Just because they give you a negative 1 here, it doesn't mean that you need to be puppet and you dance to their tune. Turn that into a 10 if you like. It's not going to change anything. If you turn that into a negative 10, then now it's fine. W is negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. Negative 6, negative 7, negative 8. These are all negative. And now let's figure out what the value is. And then if you like, I will do it in the 10th if you like, just to amuse you. The question is, how much is u minus w? U minus w, the absolute value. U is negative 8 minus a w, which is negative 6. Negative 8 minus a negative 6. Negative and negative is going to become positive, so it's negative 8 plus a 6, which is negative 2, and the absolute value of negative 2 is going to be positive 2. So the answer is positive 2. Obviously, answer is positive 2, which means that the answer is that's got to be either x, y, or z. It cannot be z because z is more than 10. Z is more than 10. Remember, we converted this into a 1 into a 10. Y is very close to 10. Very close to 10. We're looking for 2, which is x. The answer is x. That's it. Answer is x. Now, if you like, I'm going to do it again, but this time I will not convert that into a 10. I'm going to leave it as 1, and we're going to do it again if you like. It's not going to change anything. You understand? What I want you to understand is that you do not need to behave like a puppet all the time. Sometimes you can take liberties with the problem as long as you do it in a smart way. You cannot change the problem, but as long as you keep the essence of the problem, the gist of the problem the same, it doesn't change anything. But you cannot change the problem entirely. So here it was -1 and this is +1, which means we can have -6/10, we can have -7/10, and we can have -8/10. And the question is, what's the value of u minus w? U minus w. U is -8/10. It's not going to change anything, as I keep telling you. Minus w is 6/10. As I already told you, it's not going to change anything. Now everything is measured in the tenth. We basically took the same problem and we magnified it 10 times. That's what we did when we converted this -1 into a -10, and when we converted this +1 into +10. We simply took the exact same problem and we simply magnified it by 10 times. That's all we did. It's going to be the same work as before, except everything is going to be in the tenths. So negative and negative is positive, so we have -8/10 plus 6/10, which is going to be -2/10, and the absolute value of -2/10, absolute value of -2/10 is going to be +2/10. And obviously it's not y, because y is very close to 1. It's not z, because z is more than 1. Y is very close to 1. As you can see, y is more than half. It's x. 2/10 is something very close to 0, which is x. The answer is x, which is C. Let's do the next one, number 9. Number 9. A number n is increased by 5. All right. N is increased by 5. The result is multiplied by 5. Okay. Result is multiplied by 5. This result is decreased by 5. What the hell? Then decrease by 5, and then finally this result is divided by 5. So I hope you can see there, this is decrease, DEC. Listen, they're making us do a lot of gymnastic here, there. You can solve this problem in the algebraic way, because this is an algebra problem. Obviously you can solve it algebraically, or you can plug in numbers. Plug in number, make up a number, and just do what they tell you and see what happens at the end. And that's one way of doing it. I'm going to do the algebraic way first, okay? Just for the hell of it. So n is increased by 5. That means it becomes n plus 5. This result is multiplied by 5. So we take that result, and we multiply it by 5. So it becomes n plus 5 times 5. Then it is decreased by 5. So we take our 5 times n plus 5 and we subtract 5 from it. And then finally we divide that by 5. 5 times n plus 5 minus 5 over 5. Now, how are the answer choice? Now if you look at the answer choice is a very simple expression. So we have to simplify this thing. So let's do it then. 5 times n is just going to be 5n. 5 times 5 is 25. And then we have a -5 over 5. So we have 5n plus 25, and a -5 is going to give us plus 20 over a 5. Over a 5. We can divide top and bottom by 5. So we have 5n over 5 plus 20 over 5, which is simply 5 drops out and we have n over 4. So this is one way of doing it. This is a very classical way, very traditional way, very orthodox way, very conventional way, the geeky way, the nerdy way, if you will, very academic way, the algebraic way. The way your math teacher will expect you to solve it. Another way is the quick and dirty way, which is where you make up a number. Let's do it that way. Let's do the non-conventional way first. Now in the non-conventional way, when you're plugging in numbers, in theory you can plug in anything that you want for n. You can plug in 37,000.38 for it, or you can plug in 34 for n. You can plug in anything that you want in theory and do what they tell you, the steps. But that's only in theory. In practice, it's always a good idea to plug in numbers that are more friendly. here you can see we have to divide by 5. Somewhere we have to divide by 5. So I'm going to plug in some multiple of 5. Something that we can easily divide by 5. Let's plug in 10. That's it, we are done. The answer is n plus 4. Now we're going to redo it. And here's how it goes. Where you see n, draw a little line, put down what you want to plug in. I'm going to plug in 10. So 10, so now it reads 10 is increased by 5. Oh, that's 15. The result is multiplied by 5. So we have 15 times 5. And then it is decreased by 5. 15 times 5 is 75. So you take 75 and you decrease by 5. That becomes 70. And then finally we divide by 5. So 70 divided by 5 is 14. That's our punchline. This is what I call the punchline. That's it. That's our answer. When I find the punchline, I always put a box around it. Always put a box around it immediately, because that's your reward. That's your payoff. That's what we were looking for. That's what we were after all the time. That's it. All we have to do now is to go to the answer choices. Wherever we see n, replace it with the value that you plugged in. We plugged in 10. So wherever we see n in the answer choices, replace it with 10, and keep on going until you come upon an answer choice that works out to be your punchline. That's all. Let's look at it. A says n minus 5. N is 10. 10 minus 5 does not equal 14. B says n minus 1. That's going to be 10 minus 1. That's 9. That's not it. C says n, which is just n is 10. We're looking for 14. That's not it. And finally D says n plus 4, n plus 4, and our n is 10, so 10 plus 4 gives us what we're looking for. Voila. The answer is D. So this was the non-conventional way. I prefer to stick with the non-conventional way instead of doing the algebra, because in the algebra you're more likely to make mistakes. Not only you're more likely to make mistakes, but when you do the algebraic way, the conventional way, the traditional way, the mistake that you will make will in all likelihood be one of the 4 most popular mistakes. What you have to understand is that they gave you 5 answer choices. One, of course, is the right answer. Where are the other 4 answers coming from? They're not falling from the sky. They're not just put there arbitrarily. They are the 4 most popular mistakes. 4 most popular mistakes if the problem is solved in the classical way. And if you end up making one of the 4 most popular mistakes, your answer will match with one of the 4 answer choices, and you will never know that you've got the wrong answer. So I avoid the traditional method. So then that way we avoid the traps also. Because one is the right answer, the other 4 are the traps. Don't go that route. Don't go that path. Do something that they don't expect you to do. Plug in a number. Do you understand? Number 10. Question number 10. Flip use, I believe that's how you pronounce the name. Philip, I don't know. Used 4 pieces of masking tape. Each, I don't want to shock you, but I do have a slight accent. Do you understand? Each 6 inches long. Alright, so he used 4 pieces of masking tape, each 4 inches long, to put each one of his poster. So here's the poster here. Here's the poster here. The guy is putting 4 tapes here, 6 inches long. 6 inch long, 4 pieces of tapes, which means he's using up 2 feet of tape for one poster. Why 2 feet? Because 6 inches plus 6 inches, that's a foot. 6 inches plus 6 inches is another foot. So he's using 2 feet of tape to put up one poster. If no tape was wasted, which of the following represents the number of feet of masking tape that was left? Not used, not the amount of tape that was used, but number of tape that was left on the roll after he put n poster. After he put n poster. So I'm going to make up a number for n. Let's pretend that he put 100 posters. Okay? So we're going to plug in 100 for n. You can plug in anything you want, as I said. If you put in 100 posters, and we already know that he's using 2 feet of tape, 2 feet of tape for one poster, for 100 tapes, for 100 posters, he will have used 200 feet. Now how much was the roll? Because they are not looking for how much was used. The question is, which of the following represents the number of feet of masking tape that was left? How much did he start out with? He started out with a roll of 300 feet and he used up 200 feet, which means the leftover is 100 feet, and that's our punchline. Put a box around it and that's our punchline. Okay, you can circle anything that you want before in the problem, but always make sure that you put a box. Box signifies that you are done, and that's your payoff, that's your punchline. Now all we have to do is go through the answer choices. Wherever we see n, replace it with 100, because that's what we plugged in for n. Replace it with 100 until something that gives you 100. That's all. Let's do it. Answer choice A says 300 minus 6n. n is 100. So 300 minus 600 is not going to be 100, obviously. B says 300 minus 2n. 300 minus 2 times n, which is 100. There you go. 300 minus 200 equals 100. Voila, there is your answer. There is our answer. To convince you, I'm going to go through all the others to show you that none of the other answer choice will work out to be 100. C says 300 minus 100. That's not it. That will give us 200. We're looking for 100. D says 300 minus 50. That's not it. That's going to give us 250. And E is the same way. None of them, none of the other answer choices are going to work out to be the punchline. That's the beauty of it. But that's why it's called punchline. Because that's the unique answer. That's the correct answer. You cannot have more than one right answer, obviously. That was it. I will see you tomorrow, okay? Bye now.